Hi everyone and welcome to a new episode of Days Podcast along with a new video. I know that I have been recently making new episodes with you all that are free. I thank you so much for listening and watching, viewing, and subscribing. And I truly appreciate and liking too. I truly appreciate it. And today I wanted to talk about a movie. You know, we haven't talked about movies in a while. I have talked about Poetic Justice, a few months, well, some months ago, as opposed to talking about Moesha, which is a sitcom, of course. So I would like to implement looking more into movies and looking into more TV shows as to how long they lasted, if they're still going, what were they like, the timing, just everything. So we will be looking into more of that when it comes to the visuals of things, because I know I like to make sure you guys have enough to learn as far as with music, and we've got to really get more into astrology. Because with astrology, yeah, I've talked about moons and the different signs and the houses that anyone can be able to look into for themselves as far as for how they're positioned in the world. But besides that point, there will be free episodes as we go, as you guys already know, and there will be exclusives on Patreon and Spotify as well. So we didn't forget about story time with Day. We already talked about Destiny's Child and Michael, and I believe we will talk more about a few more artists. Just you wait. And among other things, because there are other things that we can talk about that I feel that we can talk about on YouTube, but personally when it comes to like members and just being able to kind of connect with me more and just be able to, learn more on the topics as I do, why not? So let's get into this movie here. So we are talking about Romeo Must Die. Romeo Must Die is a 2000 American action film directed by Andrzej Bartkorki. I don't know how to say his last name, but we'll just say NB. We'll say NB, right? Okay. In his directorial debut. So this was his first movie, okay? And features fight choreography by Corey Yun. The film stars Jet Li, Aaliyah, and yes, you gotta say Aaliyah, like Ali. People say in the snow. It's Aaliyah. In her film debut, Isaiah Washington, Russell Wong, DMX, and Delroy Lindo. The film marks Aaliyah's only film that was released during her lifetime before she was killed in a plane crash 1 year later on August 25th, 2001. The plot is loosely related to William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, transplanted to contemporary Oakland with Black American and Chinese American gangs representing the feuding families. My prayers are for those that were recently affected and are no longer with us in the crashes that have happened. And I also want to make light that we all need to appreciate life and to know that it's very short and there's a lot going on, and the littlest thing can change everything. And I just feel as though we all have to just be safe, respect one another, and try to just be happy. That's the best way I can say things on that. Frustrated by the lack of originality in Hollywood action films, producer Joel Silver built the film around Hong Kong action films. He cast established Hong Kong actor Jet Li following his role in Lethal Weapon 4. R&B singer Aaliyah was cast and sang the soundtrack's lead single, Try Again, which topped the US Billboard Hot 100. Yes, Try Again is such a legendary song. I did talk about Aaliyah as far as for all of her discography. I want you guys to know that she is very much missed and she will forever be missed. And definitely this movie was letting me, among others at that time, know she was not to be played with. She was ready, okay? Movie was out, song was out, we getting this album, like she was ready. There was other artists that were out. Their impact was, it stands on its own for them as well. Aaliyah, though, there was a mysteriousness about her, and because she wasn't always doing interviews or wasn't always seen, when she popped out, it was just nothing but slay, and again, she just very missed. Romeo Must Die was released by Warner Brothers Pictures in the United States on March 24th, 2000, where it received mixed reviews from critics, but was a box office success, grossing $91 million against a production budget of $25 million. The film was considered Lee and Aaliyah's breakthrough in Hollywood. When this movie came out, there wasn't movies that they didn't want Jet Li to do after. More, if anything. And her. There was scripts ready she, in the midst of this movie, started to already get into Queen of the Damned. And that did take some time out of whatever script she could have looked more into. But that's besides the point. This was really the moment for both of them. And DMX too. Shoot, we seen DMX in Belly. But see, DMX being in this, he was able to really be in more movies, especially with their single, Come Back in One Piece, So, let me just look at more going on. So yes, I just wanted to kind of, let me look at, yeah, and see, the soundtrack was really well too. It was good too, The soundtrack actually did good, And we could read on this, not read, but we can talk about the soundtrack too if you guys want to. I mean, I can flip back and forth. We can multitask around here. We want to make sure. All right, so the plot. Let's look at the plot though. Po Sing is the youngest son of Chinese triad boss Chu Sing, who is accosted by African Americans in a nightclub owned by Silk in Oakland, California. Po is rescued and admonished by Kai, Chu's chief lieutenant. Po leaves the club, and is found murdered the next day by a kid on a bicycle. So, they're kind of giving us the story here as to what happened and why everything kind of transpired the way they did. Han Sing is Po's brother and a former cop who has been imprisoned in Hong Kong. Han learns of his brother's death and escapes to Oakland to investigate, where Chu is engaged in a joint business venture with Isaac O'Day, a black real estate developer and gang leader. The two have been acquiring these two properties along the waterfront to sell to Vincent Roth, a business magnate. I don't know what is magnate. Ooh. Magnate who plans, what does that mean? To buy a new NFL franchise and build a stadium. A wealthy and an influential person, especially in business. Okay, never really used the word magnate like that, but in other words, guys, in the beginning of the movie, pretty much Han, which plays Jet Li, his brother was in the club, just out and about, and was just at the wrong place at the wrong time, I guess, and was murdered, in the midst of a, situation that happened in that club. And he locked up somewhere and realizes that had happened and says, oh no, I gotta get the hell out of here. Really gets himself out and was able to even get money from someone thinking he was going to go do the lottery or scratch some tickets. Whichever the case may be, that was what they were translating. But long story short, he was able to disguise himself out, and in the midst of the burial, we'll read into that, but in the midst of him getting there, his dad and, which we will learn, Ali's character, Trisha's dad, are kind of in business to do something, but we'll go ahead. Despite assurances from Chu that their partnership remains intact, Isaac fears retribution following Poe's death and has his chief lieutenant Mac place security details on his son Colin and his daughter Trish, who refuses to be involved in her father's illegal enterprises. So, in a chance encounter, Han befriends Trish by helping her ditch her assigned security Maurice, and then discovers Poe called Trish's clothing store the day before he was killed. At his brother's funeral, Han confronts his estranged father and blames him for failing to protect Poe after Han helped them both flee to America to escape Chinese authorities, which resulted in Han's imprisonment. Okay. See, they don't talk, they talk about it, but it's just, when you read, okay. Kai informs Han that Poe's death has been the result of the escalating gang war between the Chinese and African Americans. Meanwhile, Colin tells his father that he was supposed to have met Poe at the club on the night of his murder to discuss information that could end the war. That night, Colin and his girlfriend are murdered by an unseen assailant. Trish and Han team up and realize that Poe wanted to show Colin a list of businesses that were either destroyed or being threatened for failing to sell their properties. The two visit one of the remaining businesses on Poe's list, but the Chinese owner and his employees have been killed. Okay. After killing the Chinese hitman responsible, Han questions his father, who deflects suspicion by suggesting Isaac may have used outside contractors. Later, Chu is shown ordering the death of several other triad bosses to acquire their territories. Trish and Han visit the last holdout on Poe's list, Silk's nightclub, where Poe was last seen. So it gets a little bit intense because it's like their brothers mutually were gonna meet up with each other and we're gonna talk things out. One brother didn't meet the other in time and was at a location that he was not really fully welcomed at. Poe was trying to take the risk, like, I'll just come around here. I'll have a cute drink. It's all right. And people weren't feeling it. Han and Trish meet with Silk, but Mac kills him for his deed and abducts Trish and Han. Okay, so Silk, if you haven't put it all together now, is DMX. And he really had, like, I wouldn't say like a short role, but he had like a good enough role where he stood out, where it was just like, this is his club. Y'all better get the fuck out of here if you gonna act up around here, because this is not how we party. Okay. As far as let me just continue here. Yeah, at a remote location, Han defeats Mac's henchmen led by Maurice and goes to rescue Trish. Isaac and Chu meet with Roth to sell him the deeds for the properties they now control. After Chu takes a multi-million-dollar payment and departs, Isaac refuses his payment, stating that his compensation will be in the form of an ownership share of the new franchise. An enraged Mac threatens Isaac to take the deal using Trish as a hostage. So Chu was already making whatever deal he was gonna make, as opposed to Isaac. Isaac was like, listen, we gonna just do things a little bit differently, because he lost a son and I did too. I think that right now there's a little bit too much going on. He also reveals that the gang war was a ruse he and Chu concocted to cover their murder and intimidation of businessmen who refused to sign away their properties and admits to killing Colin, sorry. Yeah. In the ensuing shootout, Isaac is wounded while Roth escapes via helicopter. However, Max shoots Roth's briefcase out of his hand and the deeds scatter into the wind. Han arrives and confronts Mac about Poe, who reveals that it was the Chinese who killed him, and it is about to shoot Han when Trish kills Mac first. Trish waits with her father for an ambulance while Han leaves to find Chu. At the Singh compound, Kai admits he personally killed Poe for interfering with Chu's dealings with Roth. So not only are there two sons that are murdered, there were two assistants to fathers of these sons that were literally trying to hurt them both, like hurt the fathers, and these assistants would not, it didn't matter if it was black or Chinese. They wanted to hurt their bosses and hurt their kids and take over everything. Okay, and it was okay. It was something. It was something to watch. But yeah, the deeds had fell out of and scattered into the wind, so ain't nobody got no deeds to run away with. Han engages Kai in a fist fight and eventually kills him. Han berates his father for killing Poe out of greed, and declares that he will leave him to be punished by either the police or the other triad families. As Han walks away, Chu picks up his gun and shoots himself. Han finds Trish waiting for him outside, and the two walk away together as the police arrive. So, not that I wanted to give you guys the movie, but I felt like you guys needed the movie. Just to have an insight of what you guys will watch and play. Yeah, during the late 90s, they really was trying to make a movie like this. The production team also introduced a new visual effect technique, the presentation of martial arts fighting in X-ray vision. So that wasn't something going on until pretty much this movie. They initially experimented with it for a single fight scene with Jet Li and tested it in front of an American audience, which gave an overwhelmingly positive response before using it in more action scenes throughout the film. So there were a lot of things that were implemented in this film that weren't in other films that made it stand out, especially with it going damn near triple the amount they were making. So if they had a budget of $25 million and they made 91, that's damn near triple the amount, more than, so that was really good. But yeah, guys, as far as with the settings, it was in Oakland, but other than a few establishing shots, film production was entirely in Vancouver, British Columbia. Principal photography began on May 3rd, 1999 and ended on July 23rd, 1999. Filming locations included Gastown, Grandview, Woodland, Vanier Park, Chinatown, Versatile Pacific Shipyards, and the Dr. Sun Yat-sen Classical Chinese Garden. So they were in Canada. Despite being in California, they were in Canada too. So that's why, it looks a little bit in its own world, because, there's different places that you could be able to capture and you wouldn't even think, well, wow, that was there. Like, yeah, it's its own place. Oh yeah, according to the documentary, The Slanted Screen, Han and Trish were supposed to have a kissing scene, which explains the title of Romeo, but this did not test well with urban audience. Jet Li stated on his personal website that they had filmed both versions of the scene, with kiss and without, and decided to use the latter because it would be somewhat strange and awkward for Han to have witnessed his father's suicide and then come out and kiss someone. Yeah, when you really look back at it, it's like, there was just, and you know what, for someone that would probably be feeling maybe sadistic and feeling like, oh my God, my dad just hurt himself. Like, what? It's just, I don't know. I think they made the better choice without a kissing scene. However, if they had like and here's a deleted scene that we don't have, then that's different. And then have it marketed on DVD, or that's different. But I don't think they even needed to do that. But yeah, Romeo Must Die debuted at number 2 on the U.S. box office behind Aaron Brockovich, which had come out a week earlier. The film was produced with a budget of $25 million. In North America, Romeo Must Die earned $18 million. 2,641 theaters, $6,821 per screen average in its opening weekend. Romeo Must Die's total North American gross is $55 million. The film's worldwide box office gross is $91 million. It was released in the United States on DVD on August 1st, 2000, and on Blu-ray on August 14, 2012. So like I was saying, on the DVD that came out in 2000, they could have, if they wanted to, make it like a deleted scene. Like, all right, here's the deleted scene that we did not put out. Or in the Blu-ray version, like, here's the Blu-ray version, including a deleted scene. Like, there's a way. But they didn't, I don't think they wanted to do that. And I think that, for what it's worth, if it just wasn't meant to be like that, so be it. Like, I'm not gonna push something that I don't believe in either, if it's not gonna make sense. But yeah, definitely had a soundtrack. And yeah, so Romeo Must Die, the album was released on March 28th, 2000. So as the movie's coming out, you have a whole soundtrack through Blackground Virgin Records in association with Warner Brothers, who helped co-finance the soundtrack. Composed of hip-hop and R&B music, it features contributions from film star Aaliyah, who appears on 4 songs and served as one of executive producers on the soundtrack album. 3 singles were released from the album: Try Again, Come Back in One Piece, and We At It Again. So We At It Again was, I believe, Timbaland and Magoo. Yeah, I'm acting like I can't just go and look at it. Yep. And as far as looking at that, we can look at it. I just wanted you guys to know that, yeah, I do enjoy the movie, and definitely check it out if anything. I believe it's on YouTube. It's you can definitely stream it. Trying to just make sure I see everything else that I would like to know with you guys on the release, reception, and everything, because I did say I was going to talk about the soundtrack. So as far as the soundtrack goes, recording sessions took time between May 1999 and June 2000. So anyone involved understood from May 1999 and up until January 2000, that they would have some type of, work that they can be able to do. And production was handled by several recording producers, including Irv Gotti, Rapture Stewart, Ant Banks, Eric Seitz, Manny Fresh, J-Dub, and Timbaland, who also served as executive producer alongside Barry and Jomo Hankerson and the film star Aaliyah. It features contributions from Aaliyah, who appears on 4 songs, as well as B.G., Shantae Moore, Dave Hollister, Destiny's Child, Genuine, Joe, Lil Mo, Mac 10, Playa, Stanley Clark, The Comrades, and more. Yeah, let's look at the performance. In the United States, the soundtrack debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and topped the R&B Hip Hop Albums chart, selling 203,000 in its first week. It was certified platinum by the Recording Academy on May 2nd, 2000 for selling a million copies. The album sold 1.3 million copies by the end of 2000. By 2001, the album sold 1.5 million copies domestically and over 2 million copies internationally. So yeah, there's track 1, Try Again, with Aaliyah. Track 2, Come Back in One Piece, with Aaliyah and DMX. Track 3, which is Rose in a Concrete World, which which is by Joe. Track 4, Rollin' Raw from BG. We At It Again by Timbaland and Magoo. And then track 6 is Are You Feeling Me by Aaliyah. So this song is kind of slept on. I miss, when we would hear songs and it's like, where are they now? But Are You Feeling Me is a great song. If you really listen to it, you can hear the fact of it's Missy and Tim and Aaliyah back again, and I thought that was very cool. So track 7 is Perfect Man, performed by Destiny's Child. So writers wise, it was written by Beyonce. I think, for what it's worth, I want to say that originally it may have said Beyonce, like it was just solely her song. But in recent times, Perfect Man is labeled, and rightfully so, cohesively with the Survivor era of Destiny's Child. So this was what's it gonna be? The bonus track that, you kind of have, but it didn't really have a place at the time, but, in recent times it does, and it has to go with whatever time it had. So that's with that song. And I guess you guys should know, and not even I guess, I want you guys to know, they was very much close, okay? Aaliyah and B, when it came to just, this contribution here. Because, they Missy, everybody knew of each other, so. And it's not a bad thing. Don't take me to saying that in like a weird way. No, that's not a bad thing. I'm glad that everybody worked together on this soundtrack. Simply Irresistible by Genuine, that's track 8. It Really Don't Matter by Confidential, track 9. Track 10, Thugs, performed by Mac 10 and the Comrades. Track 11, I Don't Wanna by Aaliyah. So of course, by the time you get to track 11, you already have about 3 songs, if not heard all the songs by Aaliyah. I Don't Want is probably the last one. Because there's I Don't Wanna, Are You Feeling Me, Come Back in One Piece, and Try Again. So already by the time you get towards halfway through the album, you've already heard 4 songs from Aaliyah. And it was something because ain't nobody really heard music from her in such a way in a while. 4 songs compared to just having singles. It's just been a while. So track 12, Somebody's Gonna Die Tonight. Dave Bing and Lil Mo. Track 13, Woozy by Playa. Track 14, Pump the Brakes by Dave Hollister. Track 15, This Is a Test by Shantae Moore. Track 16, Revival by Anonymous. Track 17, Come On by Sandra Blade. And then track 18, Swung On by Stanley Clark and Politics. So track 8, 13, 14, 16, 17, and 18 do not appear in the film. So every other song do, but there's a good selection of songs that don't appear on the film. And then there's songs that do appear on the film, but were not released on the soundtrack. So, they had an idea for how they wanted to make sure this would all come together. And it's a great movie again. Yeah, they said that there was mixed reviews, but I feel like that was only because of just maybe the timing and everything that was going on at the time. It was unexpected, But yes, I thank you guys so much for listening and watching. And be sure to check out Romeo Must Die. I'll be back with more.